Tekken Tag Tournament is an enigma. We're not sure where Namco got the idea, but thank God they did, because what you're looking at is perhaps one of the best fighting games ever released at a system's launch. Tag was originally conceived as an upgrade kit for Tekken 3 that made its way to arcades in 1999 and got ported to the PS2 1 year later. The PS2 version runs much better than the arcade version, which is virtually unheard of for a fighting game port up to this point. Before now, home ports of arcade games were lesser versions of their arcade brethren. This shit varied wildly, as the best you could hope for was a scaled down version of the original game, as 16-bit consoles couldn't handle what the arcades were doing at the time. 32 and 64-bit consoles handled it a bit better, but there were compromises like load times or fewer frames of animation. Ports were generally less than or equal to the original version, which makes Tag really special for its time. That, and the fact that it might be the first 3D tag fighter ever made. This leads us to the section of the video where I explain Tekken Tag's tag system. Explaining Tekken Tag Tournament's tag system. Tag fighters are rare, even today. I can name about 4 different series that came out within the last 20 years or so, not including Tekken Tag. At the time, the only other tag fighting game was Capcom's Versus series. In those games, you could fight 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 until you defeat the opposing team. You can call out your teammates for assists or just to tag out with them if they're getting beat, as they can recover some of their HP while they are inactive. Tekken Tag does none of that extra shit. You can swap out fighters and recover some HP, but if one character on your team is defeated, then you lose the round, regardless of how much health your partner has left. There are no assists either. I mean, not like the Versus games. Let me explain. So, there are special tag throws that you can use to act as an assist of sorts. Everybody can do it, but if you pair certain characters together, you can get a special tag throw that looks cooler and is often more damaging than the generic option. There's also a hidden system in the game called Netsu. There it is. That was Netsu. Didn't see it? Okay. Here's it one more time, but
much slower.
When your character's health gauge flashes like that, they're in an enraged state that will deal 1.3 times more damage than normal. When a character activates Netsu, it depends on who they are partnered with. For example, Law gets mad when his partner gets hit 5 times, but when his partner is Paul, it takes 4 hits. When paired with someone he dislikes, like Devil, who is the most disliked motherfucker on the roster, according to the chart that I found, it takes 7 hits on Devil for Law to get enraged. Now we've covered likes, dislikes, and neutral feelings, but what if your character hates their partner? Nothing happens. They'll never enter an enraged state no matter how many hits their partner takes. Like Law hating Bake. Oh, hey, Bake is back, but shouldn't he be older? What's the deal? Maybe we can find some answers by talking about the premise of Tekken Tag. Every character from the past 3 games has returned, except for Martial Law, Boskonovich, and Gon, the latter of which would never appear in Tekken again, as the rights for Gon were only for the 3rd game. Meaning that people that have disappeared or died are back to throw down. What's the story behind this? There is none. Tekken Tag is non-canon to the lore of Tekken, and is what we call a dream match. This idea was created by SNK, as KOF 98 featured characters that were dead or long since forgotten. Hell, some ports even have Dream Match in the title. All in all, it's an excuse to play as your favorite characters again. And that leads us to Tekken Tag's roster. You know, minus the dinosaur and the doctor. Xiao Yu, Yoshimitsu, Nina, Boris Law, Hwoarang, Eddie, Paul, King, Lei, Jin, Wang, Prototype Jack, Devil, True Ogre, Ogre, Roger, Beck, Michelle, Armor King, Gunjack, Anna, Brian, Heihachi, Ganryu, Julia, June, Kunimitsu, Kazuya, Bruce, Kuma, Jack 2, Lee Chaolan. They even added all the palette swaps for the respective characters like Angel, Alex, Panda, and Tiger. Plus a new one for Mokujin when he puts on the metal cap. The only new character here is the boss character Unknown, a naked woman covered in goo that's possessed by a wolf spirit. That's all the info we have on her, though her stance does look familiar. Anyway, let's talk about the modes. So every mode returns here except for Tekken Force mode because a 3D tag beat 'em up would be way too busy, but I'm sure it would be 10 times better than the Bouncer. The other missing mode is Tekken Ball, but that got replaced with Tekken Bowl, which is just a bowling minigame. There are differences between the characters that affect their throwing strength and accuracy, but for the most part, it's just bowling. Probably the coolest part is just about every mode in this game can be played co-op or 4v4 through pair played mode, where you and another human can play together on one team or face another team against another pair of humans. Multi-tap not included. So that takes care of the modes, but what happened during the tournament? Who the fuck knows? None of this shit is canon anyway. At most we can assume that Unknown has something happening to her. As for just about everyone else, it's just random shit happening in 40-second clips. Clips that have no audio, mind you, other than this kinda depressing ass song that plays over everything. There are some with a semblance of a story, like June dealing with Devil Gene shit, Yoshimitsu and Kunimitsu battling it out, Kazuya dealing with Devil Gene shit, True Ogre and Devil having a projectile fight, Angel dealing with Devil Gene shit, whatever this shit is with Kuma, and last but not least, Unknown. She's not possessed by the wolf anymore. Good for her, I guess. Though her stance does remind me of somebody. I can't quite put my finger on it though. Anyway, that was Tekken Tag. Not too much to talk about here since the newest thing in the game is the tag system. That isn't a slight against it though, as tag is easily in my top 5 of Tekken games, hands down. It also has one of the rare honors of getting an HD re-release on PS3 called Tekken Hybrid. It has all the characters unlocked at the start and comes packed with a demo for Tekken Tag 2 and the Blood Vengeance movie.
Oh, excellent!
Tekken would go back to its roots the next installment, but what we got ended up being the weirdest and most offbeat game in the whole series.